indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everyone, and welcome to our Monday, January 6th meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Welcome on this very bitter, cold morning. Glad you're all here. Madam Clerk, the first item, please.
First item is item 1, proclamations presentation. Number 1, presentation on the sodium reduction grant of the Health Agency.
Morning, Misty.
Morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Misty Kruger, Shawnee County Health Agency. This morning, we would like to present to you our findings over the last 3 years of work that we've done here in Shawnee County with the sodium reductions and community grants. And before I start, I do want to introduce a couple of people who are here with me today. Tara Dimick will also be presenting with me for this, and she's with E2 Communications, which is a contractor that we use throughout this grant and was very involved in the work that we did. And then also Dr. Ryan Liu with Spectrum Health Policy Research out of Atlanta. He was our third-party evaluator on the work that we did with this, and so he may be able to help answer some of the questions if you have any. But with that, I will start with what we did over the last 3 years. So in the United States, the dietary guidelines for sodium, it's recommended that people consume less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day. Some people have even stricter restrictions than that, at 1,500 milligrams a day, and those are people who are over the age of 51, African Americans, people who already have high blood pressure, those with diabetes or chronic kidney disease. We know that 9 out of 10 Americans ages 2 or older already consume too much sodium in their diets. The average American eats 3,300 milligrams of sodium every day. Why is sodium so important, and why is this work that we've done so valuable to our community? 44% of the sodium we eat comes from 10 types of food. Reducing the sodium that Americans eat by 1,200 milligrams, if we can reduce 1,200, we could save an average of $20 billion a year in medical costs. More than 800,000 people die each year from heart disease, stroke, or other vascular diseases. That cost our nation $273 billion in health care in 2010. 65% of the sodium that we eat comes from food bought in retail stores and 25% from restaurants. And the biggest piece to all of this and the education that we've been trying to push is that sodium's already in manufactured food. You cannot remove that. So by educating consumers and helping them understand where that sodium's coming from, they can make better choices. So this grant was a partnership here in Shawnee County, and actually one of the biggest highlights to the work that we did were the partnerships that were formed. Kansas Department of Health and Environment, Heartland Healthy Neighborhoods, and the Shawnee County Health Agency were the 3 main contributors to this work. We were one of 5 communities in the U.S. who were awarded these grants. And it was a 3-year grant and brought in $1.2 million to our community over that 3-year time period. So the first thing that we did in this work was we conducted a survey back in 2011 from April to November to really get a baseline data for sodium consumption here in Shawnee County. It had 3 components: a telephone interview, which KDHE did, random surveys to people, asking them, just about sodium and their knowledge of sodium. And we had 834 people take part in that survey on phone. Once they completed the phone survey, they were then asked to come into the health agency where we did some clinical measurements with them, their height, their weight, their blood pressure. And then we did a web-based analysis analyzing everything they ate for the last 24 hours. With that, we had 695 people that came in and completed those 2 pieces of it, which is an 83% completion rate for that survey. And again, just to highlight, when people were coming in for their blood pressure, we had more than 1 who were actually at a critical level of blood pressure, and we were able to do medical intervention and send them over to the emergency room while they were sitting in our offices doing this. So what we learned is that 83.6% of Shawnee County adults did not meet the current recommendations for sodium intake. On average, Shawnee County adults eat 3.3 meals outside of the home per week. And the odds of exceeding the current recommendations for sodium intake were significantly higher among Shawnee County adults who ate more than 2 meals a week outside of the home. And then nearly 1 in 3 Shawnee County adults rarely or never use food labels when deciding what to purchase when they're buying products. So we had three main strategies that we've really focused on: procurement, media, and environmental support. For procurement, we're going to start with the Department of Corrections and our partnership that we had with them, which was a really great thing for us to be able to work with other county departments in doing some of this work. So they made a couple of significant changes. One of the things that they did is they were able to implement some vending changes within the Department of Corrections, and staff now have healthier options in their vending machines, including fresh fruits and vegetables. They also have access to a salad bar, and this is very important for that staff because of the line of work that they're in. They don't have the ability to leave the facility for lunch, and so to give them options on site that lead to healthier lifestyles was a huge bonus for us to be able to help implement some of that work. The other thing that we did was they were able to work with Aramark, their vendor for food, to work on their inmate meals and find alternate options to reduce the sodium that they're serving to inmates. And it was stuff as simple as, you know, we're serving this type of chicken. Do you have another option that still fits within our budget that would be healthier for inmates? And by doing that work with Aramark, they reduced the daily sodium of inmates by 13%. And now Tara's going to come and speak about the work that was done at the Topeka Zoo.
Hi, thank you
Hi,
for
Terry.
letting us come and tell you about what we've done. It's been a long 3 years and it's been a lot of work. Brendan Wiley with the zoo is here, so as I'm talking about the zoo, I wanted to introduce him. So we got the opportunity to work with Brendan. I think this quote down at the bottom, since everybody can't see it, I'll go ahead and read it. It's from Brendan, and it kind of was the reason why everything got started with the Topeka Zoo. The animals in our charge receive the best possible care and nutrition. Nothing stands in our way of that. When we looked at the nutrition we were offering our guests that come to the zoo, we were appalled. It was a menu of convenience. We had to ask ourselves, why were we treating the animals better than the people that come here? And so Brendan took the opportunity to work with us, and we worked on 2 different levels with him, a marketing campaign, and then we also sought out additional funding with the Kansas Health Foundation. Because of this grant, they provided us another $25,000 so that we could go in and change some of their equipment. They got rid of their fryer. They actually went in and just did a whole sweep of their menu and just went and looked, where can we purchase something that is similar but lower sodium? And then they went through another sweep and they cleaned out things that just weren't maybe the best option for what they could provide to the people of Topeka and Shawnee County. So they changed their new menu is now 3,046 milligrams from 7,320 milligrams. So a pretty significant change that they made on their major menu items. And then, like I said, they removed their fryers, and they just made a major impact on their menu. Working with their marketing portion of it, we worked with a dietitian to create a menu based on this eat like the animals eat. And so it was kind of a fun menu that they were able to talk a little bit about the animals, educate about the animals, as well as providing a healthier menu. And then the sodium also provided for the marketing budget a little bit to pay for that menu and some of the changes that went into those. Going on to the media campaign. We did some focus groups, actually, to start this off. The focus groups were multi-level. They did lots of things for the campaign. But on the media side of it, they helped us design the media and marketing design. We worked with Gizmo Pictures. So as you see some of the different design elements that we had, they were developed by Gizmos. There was 2 real focuses with what we asked for from Gizmo. Besides all the information we gave them that we wanted to share with the public, we wanted them to educate the public, and we wanted them to grab attention. So as you'll see through some of the different things that we did, the print media was more to educate. Simple tips. There's 10 simple tips to lowering your sodium. We wanted to make it easy. Wanted to make it basic. Most people, as we did the focus groups, really didn't know what to do. They didn't really have a basis to start from, and a lot of them were throwing their hands up and saying, another thing I've got to do. So reading the labels, knowing that sodium was hiding in the products that they were eating, and that it wasn't about the salt. We had a billboard campaign. We had several different billboards, all based on the same print media campaign that we were doing. And then we had a Spanish billboard campaign. So through the end portion of our campaign, we had Spanish-speaking or Spanish billboards so that we could speak to a Spanish population. We did focus groups with Spanish population that was both only Spanish-speaking as well as Spanish and English-speaking. Then we went on to the TV campaign. Some loved it, some hated it. But it got everybody's attention. So it was a very, very high attention. It grabbed a lot of people. We were able to have results that said that not only did it grab people, but it made them pay attention to sodium. And so it was very effective in what we were trying to do of catching attention and educating. We also had the website, the spotthesalt.com. The spotthesalt.com website had 10 tips to reduce the sodium. That was kind of the basis of the education. It has some health facts on it. It had recipes, advertising material. It had all of the print media campaign that we had, and it was such a highly effective print campaign that we actually requested to take it by Boston, asked for the advertising campaign to take it into their market. And so this was a total share. We wanted to make sure that that was happening, and so they took the print campaign, and we have that going in Boston as well, which is really exciting. And then the final recap video. We have lots of different phone calls coming in across the nation from other counties and cities that are asking, what are you doing? Because sodium is a high topic for CDC. And so they are coming to this, and we have a video presentation of everything we did. So if you missed something, you can go to the website and actually see us tell you all about each portion of the campaign. Additional advertising, we did radio, we did live remote over at the Topeka Zoo. We did educational booths at different events that were going on. We had a brochure. We did web ads on CJ Online and Cox Communications. And we did social media. We really worked with Facebook. We also did an email blast that I didn't include here that went out that had all the 10 tips on it. So then, to validate kind of how did it go? How did the media campaign go? Was it effective? Did it do anything? We went out to Westridge Mall, and we had 470 respondents, and 46% had seen the media campaign, that they could connect the dots. So it's just that, so, statistically, significantly, the majority of them were actually making changes because of that, because of viewing the ads. Then we went out to the Topeka Zoo, and we had 108 respondents. They had an additional set of questions to find out if they thought that the changes in the zoo menu were a good thing. And from that, 78.8% had a positive reaction to the changes in the menu. And this was just one of the statements. It's a good option for my kids, was about the Topeka Zoo. And I'll let Misty come up and keep going.
So our third strategy was environmental support, and this is where the health agency really focused a lot of our efforts. And it was working in local convenience stores to make sure that people had healthy options when they went into the gas station. A lot of times we go in and made for a snack, and it's probably not the healthiest thing that you could pick. So we worked with Hy-Vee, we worked with Gas and Shop in North Topeka, Larry's Short Stop in South Topeka, and then all 10 of the Quick Shop locations were on board with this. What we did, we went in, met with store managers, met with corporate leadership through Quick Shop, and had an agreement that we agreed to do certain things for them if they agreed to do some certain things for us, and to make this partnership work. And they actually signed a contract with us to say, yes, we're on board with this and we'll do that work for you. So we had a dietitian go into each one of these convenience stores and look for things that they already had on their shelves. We did not want to make them have to go out and buy new things or add things to their inventory. We wanted to use what they already had. These were the guidelines that we used. It had to be less than or equal to 250 calories. It had to have less than 230 milligrams of sodium, less than or equal to 35% of the calories from fat. Sugar could not be the first ingredient listed, and again, utilize things already in the store. The only exception to the stuff in the store was if they did not already offer fresh fruit, they did have to add that to their menu, and we had one convenience store that had to make that change. So from that, we worked with their current setup. So our original objective was to have a point of sale, kind of like you see on this bottom picture here, with a rack that people would say, okay, those are the healthy options right there. However, we learned through this process and working with our corporate partners that that wasn't really an option, because they have planograms that come from corporate. Some of their retailers buy space in their stores to have their products on specific shelves in certain spots, so they get that high traffic, and so we couldn't move those. We couldn't rearrange what they already had. So in those situations, we actually created these little labels that you see in the top picture that went right next to the price tag of the items that were healthy options, so that we didn't have to worry about them being moved or changed, and they would just restock the item, but the price tag stayed right where it was. And you can kind of see those little stickers there on that thing. But then every month throughout this project, I went into each one of those gas stations and did spot checks with them and just made sure that they were following their end of the bargain, which was to keep the shelf stocked, make sure that the signage was appropriate and clean, free of tears, things like that. And then provide technical assistance for them. So, how are things going? Do you have questions? Are you seeing any issues with this? And just really see what the environment's like in the store. And kind of sit back and just watch people walk by these racks and see if they, stopped and kind of read about it. See if the clerks themselves knew what was going on, if they were familiar with the campaign and what was going on in the stores. And those happened every month in each station. So part of their end was to provide us sales data. And the original request was 1 year prior to intervention, and then every month after. And we wanted to see, to compare those sales from year to year. What we learned was that we needed to go back further than 1 year. We actually needed 2 years to be able to account for seasonal changes in that data. And so we actually incentivized these stations for giving us that data because it's very time consuming. As you can see, this is just one store of those 10, and that's not even the full sheet. So we provided free advertising specific for those stores on radio to say, hey, Gas and Shop's offering healthy options or whatever, in exchange for them giving us their data. Because we had to go back 2 years instead of 1 year, that did knock some of the stores out. And so they couldn't go back that far. And actually, we knew going into it, at least one of the stores didn't have any pre-data, but we still wanted them to be a part of the process because they were locally owned, and we thought it was good that they were willing to take part. So we had 10 stores of the 13 who were able to be evaluated. They had enough data that we could actually look at them. Of those 10, 4 of them saw significant change that was able to be documented. And the really important part of that is that all 4 of those stores were either located within or close proximity to food deserts or low-income neighborhoods. We also know that a lot of those had a long distance to grocery stores, and they reported that consumers actually use them to purchase staple items like milk and bread. So that's where they were going to get their basic grocery needs met. And so it was very important that we were able to find change in the purchasing of healthier options in these stores. Some of the stores saw as high of an 11% increase in the purchase of these items. So that was very important to some of the work that we were doing. Some additional things that have come from this grant, we were able to start a Work Well Kansas program here in Shawnee County, and we actually sent 2 staff people to the training for that. And then with that, we were able to get some mini grants, and we got 2, one for the health agency and one for the county as a whole, and we'll have purchased bike racks to be placed at some of the county locations to help encourage some more physical activity. We also received some mini grant funding from the sodium, and we were able to implement some policies at the health agency, including vending and meeting policies. And exciting news that we will now be working with Parks and Rec to do some of that same work that happened at the zoo concession stand within Parks and Rec concession stands. And so that money is being sponsored through that sodium grant, that minis grant. Tara already mentioned that we shared material with Boston. We were highlighted on multiple webinars and conference calls across the nation for the work that was being done right here in Shawnee County. Some of the biggest things were the partnerships. We were able to strengthen current partnerships that we already had, as well as form new partnerships. And I think some of the corporate partnerships that we were able to form will be very beneficial to us down the road in moving forward with different projects. And just the educational opportunities that people working on this grant were afforded to go out and learn and do some different things as well. So that is the end of our presentation, and with that, I would open it to any questions.
Thank you, Misty. And you're going to make this presentation to the City of Topeka?
Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, yes.
Very
Yeah,
good.
and I would also say the original baseline report that I mentioned, as well as our final report that was just submitted last week, we can make them available electronically if you have any interest in reading those as well.
This all relates to lower healthcare cost, hopefully,
Absolutely.
for our population that we serve.
Absolutely.
Questions, Commissioners?
No, extensive work and very informative. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thanks for being here this morning, all of you. Thanks. And is the water from you, or who's the water from?
No, but I'll take credit for it.
Okay. Is that just a gift for the new year or something? Do you know? Do you know, Jane, who put the water here? Okay. All right. Well.
I did it, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I made a resolution to drink more water this year, and I thought I would just share with the other commissioners.
Okay. All right. Kansas Association of Children has a No Pop Sunday pledge that you can take as well, and so start out the year healthy. Good idea. All right. Next item.
Item 3, consent agenda.
Are there questions on the one item? Thank you.
Motion to approve is presented.
So motion to approve by Commissioner Archer.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Yes, Madam Chair, this morning we have one set of vouchers dated January the 3rd, 2014, total amount of $859,419. I've had my questions answered regarding the vouchers, so I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Archer.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
There are no correction orders today.
Okay.
Item B, Audit Finance, number 1, consider approval of request to print all county stationery and envelopes in-house at reduced costs.
Good morning, Betty Griner,
Betty.
Financial Administrator. This came about when our contract was coming due for our printing the letterhead and envelopes. And so Michelle in Audit Finance worked with IT to see what we might be able to do to cut our costs on that. And what she found was especially in the envelopes, that if we printed those ourselves, that we could have a significant cost savings. Now, there is some problems sometimes with the printers, with each department printing their own. So what we're recommending is that my department, Michelle mostly, would be printing those envelopes. We have our large copier printer. They have acquired a separate tray that those will feed through easily, so she could, print off a whole box at a time for the departments. And by doing that, I think, the county will save a significant amount of money. The letterhead, I think most of the departments are probably doing that already, printing them off. But, IT has been very good at working with us to make sure they have templates for each department for the envelopes and for the letterhead. One of the reasons I'm coming to you about this is many years ago when it was decided to go to blue ink for the letters and the envelopes, that was brought to the commission. So I just wanted to bring this to the commission and get your permission to change back to the black ink on these and to print them internally.
Thanks, Betty. How long ago was the decision for the blue?
Yeah.
Years ago.
Okay.
Longer than I've been here.
Okay.
And Michelle is here if you have any questions also.
Great. Good initiative. Thank you.
Yeah.
With that, I'll move approval.
I'll second.
It's a motion by Commissioner Bueller, second by Commissioner Archer. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thanks.
Item C, Public Works Solid Waste, number 1, consider approval of request to fill a soon-to-be vacated road maintenance position at an annual salary including benefits of $32,604 and any subsequent positions that become vacant as a result of filling this one.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Block, Public Works and Solid Waste. This is a Public Works item, and we've had an individual who currently works for us that has indicated that they have a parent who is very ill and is needing to spend a significant amount of time dealing with the issues that were relating to that. And so they've tendered their resignation, and this request is to fill that position, as we will be short. In one of our districts if it is not filled. And then if anyone fills that from within the department, then the subsequent fillings would be for whichever district ends up with the opening. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer that.
Thanks, Tom. Other questions?
Motion to fill the position.
So motion by Commissioner Cook.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Item C2, consider approval of request for payment of invoice in an amount of $350 for an annual fee to assist in funding the Kansas Association of Counties Local Road Engineer Service Program.
Commissioners, Tom Block again with Public Works and Solid Waste. This too is a Public Works item, and the Kansas Association of Counties has a position called the Local Road Engineer. It's filled by a person by the name of Norm Bowers. who's been in this industry for decades, actually. He is a wealth of knowledge, and he spends a lot of his time keeping tabs on legislative issues, the things that may impact public works departments from a legislative standpoint, but he also is very willing and has for us in the past come and given presentations to our staff or to township board or township annual luncheons. It's just a ton of wealth of information. And when this program was initially started, KDOT fully funded it, and back, I think in 2009, KDOT didn't fund it, so the Kansas Association of Counties looked towards all the counties to split equally the amount to help fund this position. And it's my opinion that this, for the $350, is well worth the cost. So if there's, it'd be my recommendation that we approve this invoice and pay our share. And so if there's any questions regarding this, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Thank you. Are there questions?
Motion to approve the request.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no, motion carries 3-0.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tom.
Item D, Health Agency. Number 1, consider approval to create, advertise, and fill 4 part-time intermittent outreach and enrollment specialist positions at a total cost, including benefits, of $17,191 to be paid for with grant funding.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alice Weingartner, Health Agency. We have been notified by the Health Resources Services Administration that we're being allocated an additional $44,691 to assist in the outreach and enrollment efforts for individuals who are eligible for insurance through the health insurance marketplace. With those funds, we are asking to hire 4 intermittent staff who can assist primarily through the spring when their next major enrollment deadline is, in reaching out to the community and getting folks enrolled on plans that they could be eligible for. In addition, I'll comment that we will also be doing some additional media campaigns locally. We'll get some additional equipment that the staff can use for their outreach efforts. And then we're anticipating some large community events through the next couple of months where we will be making ourselves available to the public to help in assisting in enrollment. So I would be happy to answer any other questions.
I have none. Thank you, Alice. Are there questions from the commissioners?
Motion to fill the 4 positions.
There's a motion by Commissioner Cook. I'll second the motion. All in favor say aye. Opposed,
No.
Motion carries 2-1. Commissioner
Thank you.
Archer dissenting.
Item E, Commission. Number 1, reflect that Commissioner Archer has appointed Eric Stafford to a 4-year term beginning March 1, 2014 on the 3rd Judicial District Nominating Commission.
Commissioner?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Eric, if you would stand up. Eric is here today.
Okay.
He is employed by the Kansas Chamber of Commerce. He's married and has 2 children, Cole and Avery. Eric is a leader in our community, and I am proud to appoint him to the Judicial Nominating Committee. Thank you for your service, Eric. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and do that. That's a motion. I will second that. I mean, it usually is just reflected, but let's go ahead and just do that.
Then I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Madam Chair.
then I will second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. And congratulations and thank you for serving, Eric. Sorry.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
Any administrative communications today? None. I might have one. Betty, how are we coming along on the membership and subscriptions? Have you heard from most of the departments and elected officials? Great, good deal. All right, next item.
Item 6, Executive Session.
And we do have a need for an executive session for a period not to exceed 10 minutes for matters relating to security measures that protect a public body or agency, public building or facility, or the information system of a public body or agency. With that, I want to cover everything. Is there a second?
There's a second, but can we also add consultation with attorney for attorney-client?
We can. Do you want
Just
to add
not-
any time?
No, just
Okay.
an abundance of caution.
Okay. That would be fine. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0, and do not anticipate any action. guys. All right, are we ready? Okay, we are back in session, no action required, we are adjourned.
Set of documents for to
One
sign.
set.
They're just, well, their contracts.
That's because we had a better time.